All right. Hey, Course Wizards. Welcome to the Course Wizards. I'm Christopher Maselli, and I'm here with my co-host, Amit Aurora. How is it going today, Amit, at
What's
the end of
up,
the
Chris?
year? We're at
End
the
of
end
the
of
year.
2022. Can you believe that?
And I'm starting my New Year's resolution before the New Year even hits
Uh-oh. What is your New Year's resolution?
to create a course in a day.
Ooh, no, that's good. And guess what? We're going to actually talk about that today because when you started telling me about this, I said, "Oh, that sounds cool. I think our listeners would like that." And you were thinking so too. And so, yeah. So, how you create a course in a day? That sounds like impossible to me. Like,
Sounds
are you
like such a
talking about all
clickbait,
the
right?
way from planning, all the way to actually recording, to uploading to your service? Like, that seems like a lot of work. Are you
Yeah.
doing any editing?
Yes. So I would preface that the creation part that I'm doing, I have been already planning the modules and whatnot. So that
Yeah.
research has been ongoing. But the creation part is just recording the entire content, and I'll be using Descript for editing. So editing is going to be a breeze because I can just easily cut out silence and remove filler
Yes.
words and whatnot, right? You use Descript, you know that.
We like Descript a
Yep.
lot. Yeah. So okay. So before we jump into it though, so let's go. Let's take a step back and let's tell everyone you're going to create a course in a day. That's the plan. Now you actually haven't done this yet, and so we're recording this at the end of 2022. In 30 days from now, 4 episodes from now, we're going to come back and we're going to see how it went. Okay. So right today we're listening to the plans. This is the part one. We're
Yeah.
gonna have part two in a month from now, right?
So I'm on the hook. I have to do this.
You're on the hook. You have no choice now, or or maybe at the end of January there'll just be no Course Wizards episode. People will be going, "What happened?" No, no, no.
Yeah.
I know you'll do it because you are industrious.
Yeah.
You're always doing something new.
Now,
So,
one thing I would say is this isn't my first time doing this. A few years ago, I created a course on how to use Trello, and
yeah,
that I recorded in a day. In I rented an Airbnb. This was the crappiest Airbnb ever. It was like a house that had was converted into three shared rooms and a common bathroom and a common kitchen. It was just gross. But my role was just to go in there and record. And that course,
hmm
even though it didn't take off like crazy, it netted me over 4 years like $6,000 in passive
that's
income
awesome. Yeah, yeah.
from $150 that I paid for that Airbnb.
And for one day's worth of work.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's actually pretty good when you consider you got paid $6,000 for one day's worth of work. Not so bad.
Yes, if you put it that way, and it was on a very competitive topic. Now, the new course that I'm building is also on a competitive topic, but this is something that everyone's talking about. And Udemy, and this one I've decided to post on Udemy just to let their marketing engine do the work
Yep.
because the topic hasn't caught up to the demand yet. And the topic is Chat
Yes, tell us.
GPT, how
Oh,
to
Chat
use
GPD.
Chat GPT. Yeah, and it's such a easy thing that you wouldn't think people would need a course for this because it's very intuitive because we're used to search.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've done a lot of research on what are the things you can do with Chat GPT, right? So going back to
Well,
creating a course in a day. Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
I was just gonna say, so you say a lot of people know how to search, but the truth is, if you and I may know how to search like the deep things of Google, right? But a lot of people don't realize they don't think about the fact of how much they can search on Google and how they can use all kinds of parameters and all that sort of thing. And it's the same thing with Chat GPT, right? Where there's all different kinds of things to do, and that's what you're going to show.
Exactly.
But for those who aren't familiar with what Chat GPT is, why don't you just give a quick summary of what it is so that we're all on the same page?
Yes. So ChatGPT is developed by OpenAI, and OpenAI has other tools like DALI, right, which is a text to image generation. What ChatGPT is, it's a natural learning program which is AI driven, artificial intelligence, which has been fed a data model up until 2 years ago. So it's fresh up until 2021. And this
Okay.
data model has, think of it as they have downloaded the entire Wikipedia and fed it to this data model, and you could literally ask it any question. So the question is only limited by your imagination. So I want to expose some of those imaginatory things that you could ask, Now, something as simple as this, Chris, you could tell Chat GPT, it's a chat bot where you're asking the question and it's replying back with the answer. But the cool thing is it's contextual. So you can say, help me solve this math puzzle. And it'll come back with an answer. And you can say, now you don't have to repeat that same sentence again. You can say, okay, now add a variable X and how would you solve it? So it looks back to the previous context and says, okay, first I did this, now let me do this. So it's truly like Jarvis from Iron Man, where it remembers all that contextual stuff. And again, what you can make it do is just limited to your imagination.
And so it sounds like there's an intelligence there that it operates on that's different than just going for a Google search. Like if I wanted to search for, like you said, the mathematical equation of some kind on Google, I might type in some kind of search parameter, and it's going to spit me back a list of web pages that I can
Yeah.
go to try and find the answer myself, right?
Yes.
But this goes a step further and says it goes out to those web pages, finds the answer, and then tells you the answer in its own words,
Yes.
and then allows you to interact with it back and forth. That's
Yes.
crazy. This is like a Terminator kind of stuff.
I know,
Skynet,
and
right?
it is. And fun fact about Skynet, I think the day that it happened right in the future,
Yeah.
that same day, I don't want to say like 6, 7 years ago, AWS went down, and everyone was saying, "Is this Skynet?"
Yeah. Yeah.
So a fun little segue, but yeah,
That's
it
funny.
a- and not only that. I mean, again, I've been hanging out in their Discord channel, which is
Hmm.
very hard to do because you have 100,000 people. So the Discord chat is going faster than your eye can even read a one
Yeah.
thread. So for
Yeah.
me to be able to parse out meaningful information is very challenging, and then creating a course out of it. But the intent is just like any other course, right? There's going to be an introduction to Chat GPT. You mentioned what exactly is Chat GPT.
Hmm.
There's going to be use cases that I want to surface, the use cases that I use it for, right? How to create a sitemap for a blog. Let's say, to give you a real world use case, it would be you're starting a brand new blog about travel. You can ask, what are the top 20 most search terms or search things about travel? It's going to give you about, let's say, travel in Bali, right? To kind of narrow it
Yeah.
down. So it's
Yeah.
going to tell you, here are the top 20 things that people search about traveling to Bali. Okay, now let's take the first one and say, the first one is, what are the best beaches in Bali? Hey, can you, and you don't even have to copy paste anything. You say, can you write me a blog post about number one? It listed 20 things. It knows what number one was, what number seven was, what number 20 was. So you
You're right.
say, write me a blog post intro about number one. It'll write an intro. Now tell me the top 20 beaches in Bali. It'll write that.
Mm.
Write me a paragraph about each of these 20 beaches. You can see how deep you can keep going with this thing. It
Wow.
is, my only fear is, as I'm recording this, I might hit my limits. So I have screenshots from a Discord channel where people have asked it certain things, so that I
Hmm.
can use those as an example if I reach my limits, because millions of people are using it. So it's constantly, they're having to upgrade their servers by the minute.
Really good. So in terms of creating a course for this, I could tell that you've clearly done preparation, at least in your head, for this already. So you're going to create this in a day, but you've already decided I need to have an introduction, I need to have a conclusion, I need to have different things you can search for. You know where you're going to get your screenshots. So you are doing some prep work before you're starting
Yeah.
to record, right?
Yes. Yeah. And I know the title for this episode was maybe a little clickbaity. I don't think anyone can create a course in a day and have it be successful, right? Without any pre-prep. That would be a
Yeah,
disservice to my students, where if I just show up on camera, and some people do that. They just show up on camera and then fumble through and figure it out on camera. And some people
right,
like seeing that. They're like, oh, that's why this guy was fumbling. I can do this different. But
right.
yeah, like some of the things, this is like again, I wouldn't know how to do this if I wasn't in the Discord channel. Like this is a great example that people can do. Is someone gave it a 3 cent or a 3 paragraph data, and this person was chatting with the bot saying, I'm going to provide you with some data, don't interrupt me, just keep ingesting this data. So the chatbot said, okay, please go ahead and provide the data. So this person pasted the data in there, and it's about games for the Atari 2600 were quite constrained when so and so first pitched the idea that would become adventure, a game where you'd explore a world with many rooms, blah, blah. So it's talking about this Atari game.
Yeah.
Then once the chatbot has received this data, this person said, now explain how Pitfall was created to me as you would explain it to a second grader. So you can see
Hmm.
like the use cases for this thing is like mind blowing. So
Yeah.
this is one example. You can write a sales page. This was I also have some fun examples. One of them was rewrite the rules of rock paper scissors and make it super complex. So again, through the Discord channel, and this the bot said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Now the game is gonna have 12 moves. You're gonna have rock, paper, scissors, fire, water, wood, metal, air, earth, light, dark, and void. And then it explains each and every rule of what who's going to beat what. Rock paper scissors was easy, right? And then it says metal beats wood and air because metal cuts through wood and deflects air. Wood beats earth and water. Now the gravity of this, the magnitude, that you could actually take that data and build a card game that is rock paper scissors version 2.0, and you didn't even have to put in the work, is just mind blowing.
Hmm. So how is it coming up with that though? Is it actually scraping the internet for that information and then feeding it back to the user as, just in a conversational way, or is it actually coming up with fresh, new information based on
Both.
complex thought?
Both. It's been trained based on a data set, and that data set might have as well been, we don't know what that data set was, but the data set was millions and trillions of data points that are currently available on the internet for anyone to scrape, right? And on top of that, they have taught it through user input. So it's a typical AI where it has been fed data, and millions of users are feeding it data every second, and it's taking all those points and learning and then spitting it out.
So it sounds a lot like the way we learn, right? Like
Yeah.
let's say we go to school. We're in school for 2 or 4 years learning about business. That's all our input. That's our data set, right? It's
Yep.
put into us. We have some on-site job experience, which is that user interaction where we actually see how things work in the real world.
Yep.
And then we come up with ideas that are new and fresh based on those data sets, based on that interaction with other people. Um, uh,
Yep.
but that seems like a very human thing. It's kind of that is a bit scary. I can see why this is a good topic to do your course about this.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, just again, some of the things that I wouldn't think if it's a diverse group of people talking in this Discord, right? One of the things is create a fictional language using only emojis and punctuation marks, no letters, and explain the rules in English. So you could literally create your own net new language that doesn't
Uh-huh.
exist today by using AI, by using the
It's
tools
amazing.
that earlier were only those tools could exist, but everyone would have to put hours of research in mastering just one of these things, right? This one was really cool. It said um, the prompt given to it was make an argument that 1 plus 1 is greater than 2.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is a universal mathematical rule
Uh-huh.
at its simplest level. And the chatbot came through and said the argument that 1 plus 1 is greater than 2 may seem counterintuitive, but there is actually a logical explanation for this seemingly impossible equation. The key is to understand that we are not dealing with traditional mathematic concepts, but rather a different system of mathematics known as fuzzy math. And then it goes to explain what is fuzzy math. Then it goes to explain why 1 plus 1 is could be greater than 2, not just equal to 2. And again, I want to show some of these examples in my course to kind of help people understand that the possibilities are endless. If you can think it, you can ask it and it'll do it.
I see. So you're gonna help open. You got your introduction. You're gonna help open people's minds to the kinds of things it can do, and then maybe help them formulate their own kinds of I guess questions. I want to say equations, but I don't think that's right. Questions for the AI to answer, and how they might use this for practical productivity, that sort of thing.
Yep. I mean, the idea is to show them fun questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it can create a chess game and play chess with you, like
Yeah.
in real time. So show them that, show them how you can have the descriptive, like contextual conversation back and forth with it.
Yeah.
Show them what I would implement this in my life for a couple of use cases. One is my blog, and then the other is my Salesforce world, where anytime if I was to write a validation rule or a formula, I was typically Googling it for a good hour to
Yeah.
find the right one. And even the right one wasn't the right one for me, it was the right one for someone else. Now I have to take those parameters, tweak it. But now with this, it spits it out. It says, here's the formula to use. So those are the few different use cases that I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
go in depth. One, the blogging is the easiest because I can spit out the site map, I can spit out the 20 topics to blog about. Then I can have it write a blog about each of those topics, but I won't write about each of those topics. I just write about, like, let's say one or two,
Yeah.
just teach people how it responds. And then from there, I'll show all the different examples that I've seen on Discord.
Very interesting. Okay, so let's take this clearly a good topic. I think it's going to be fascinating. I think you're going to have people who want to learn about this. Probably even some people listening to this podcast right now are going to want to jump in and learn this themselves. But after you record all of these, and I assume you're going to use what your standard setup, which we're going to talk about that at the beginning of
Yep.
2023, what your tech stack is, but it's your standard camera. You're going to share your screen, right?
Yep.
And you're going to record all of that. Then after you do that, you've got your videos. You already said you're going to load those into Descript to do your editing.
Yep.
How complex are you going to get on your editing?
Oh, very simple, because
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be mostly like how you and I did this episode. It's going to be off the cuff.
Yeah.
uh, I don't care about transitions, fancy things popping up. There'll be some arrows and whatnot. So I have an annotation tool that I use for on-screen annotation.
Yes.
I will try to do that ahead of time so I don't have to do post-production annotation on screen. So the editing part should be fairly quick. Descript allows you to remove filler words. It allows you to listen to your recording at 2x speed. So typically
Mm-hmm.
I'll do it at 2x. I'll read the word in the transcript on the left side. If I see something that doesn't make sense, I use overdub. I don't know if you've used it yet. So if I
Mm-hmm.
messed up a word, I can just type the real word that I wanted to say, and Descript will say it in my tone, in my voice.
Yeah, yeah. The script is amazing. If you haven't used it, check that out. And I want to just hang back here on a point that you just mentioned. This is really good. Amit and I have created a lot of courses now over time, and we have done um, post-production editing where we've had to zoom in and do all the arrows and all that sort of thing. And we have learned over time anything that you can do in real time while you're recording makes everything so much simpler rather
Yep.
than having to go back and do it on the back end. So always, if you're planning your course, try to figure out the kinds of things like that that you can do in real time while you're recording. It'll just make everything easier.
Yep.
So then, and now you're not going to upload this to your regular course site, which is on New Zenler, though, huh? You're going to put it elsewhere?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it on Udemy just so I can leverage Udemy's marketing prowess, have them
Hmm.
be the engine that drives the, hopefully, right? Because
Yeah,
this is a new topic. When I go and search on Udemy Insights, it doesn't even show that this is a topic that anyone is searching. But I know people are, because there are already courses on Udemy, but the demand is more than the supply right now.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's amazing. All right. Well, in 30 days from now, 4 episodes from now, we're going to check back in. We're going to hear how your recording went. We're going to hear how your uploads went, how long you've had it up, because you're going to create this in a day. But I know that in reality, it may take several days to get it all uploaded and get you've still got to create your course pages, right? And your advertising for it. Are you going to have chat? Are you going to have the AI write all of that
Of
for
course.
you? Then you can say, even the page where you bought this from, it was written by the chatbot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. That's amazing. Well, I look forward to it, and I think everyone listening probably does too. And anything else you want to say about that before we to put you completely on the wire for this?
I would say just to our listeners and our viewers, don't be scared, right? Jump in. I was sharing with Chris before I started recording. We had talked about a couple of episodes ago now about my YouTube channel exploding. It's continuing to explode in 3 weeks. It went from what were we at, Chris, 100 to now
Yeah,
300 subscribers,
you've had about
and
100 subscribers a week now.
100 subscribers a week, and it's growing. And two of my videos are both sitting at 6,000 views each. One of them is going to surpass 6,000 views, which is the one YouTube is recommending now. So
Mhm.
don't be afraid. To our listeners, just jump in, create content, get it out there. Don't worry too much about how perfect it's going to be. Perfection is the enemy of done. So we have talked about this before. I'm trying to lead by example and just get this out there before the new year, because it's just going to continue to explode. Chat GPT is not going anywhere. In fact, Google and other search engines are having to keep up with it and now come up with their own version of this thing. So yeah, just get out there and do it.
Absolutely amazing. Well, is the technology is changing so fast too. It'll be interesting to see if that affects your course creation over time with this one. We may have to follow up with this one a few times throughout the year.
For sure.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, subscribe, and share. You know how it works. This is how people find the Course Wizards, and we just want to help everyone create their own course and teach anything that they want to online. And so, until next time, this is Amit and Chris saying what, Amit?
Keep creating.
Bye bye.
Bye.